Okay, I am going to go ahead and get us started with some brief announcements right before the 9:30 timeframe. I'm Heather Valutis, Vice President of Lancaster Chamber. Thanks everybody for joining us today. You'll see them right here on your screen, but we do recommend for the session that you view in side-by-side gallery view. It'll make your visual experience better for the videos and the share screen. For optimal networking experience with this session, be sure to rename yourself with your name and company and turn your camera on. We'll be using your feedback throughout this session, and there will be different points where having you on camera will be helpful as you connect with others. That said, please do keep yourself muted, but plan to use the raise hand feature during the interactive portions. And speaking of interactive, we have lots of things that we'll be doing today. So you'll be utilizing your chat pretty heavily today. Throughout the session, we ask some questions and seek your feedback in that chat feature. We will be putting you into breakout rooms at one point. It's a great opportunity to just do some quick, light networking. So be sure that you're ready for that. And then we will use some polls today as well. So we look forward to hearing your feedback. Please keep an eye on that chat. We'll give some things to you throughout and also just seek your feedback there. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Scott Fiore with Tristarr.
Thank you, Heather. Good morning, everybody. My name is Scott Fiore. I'm president of Tristarr and also the current board chair of the Lancaster Chamber. And Heather, thank you for your fantastic work last year. You knocked it out of the park. So again, thanks everyone for being here today. I don't know about you, but I'm glad 2020 is over and looking forward to 2021. What we're going to try and do today is go over what we're a little bit of 2020 and what the chamber did, but really focus on 2021. We're hoping to give you an overview of the components of our strategic plan and what our focuses are going to be this year, and also solicit your feedback. We're going to ask you to type in chats. We're going to ask you to go into a breakout room. We got good feedback on that in our previous session. Just so you all know, this is the second of 6 of these that Tom and I are doing today. In the past, we used to do these one at a time. Tom felt that he wanted to wrangle me and do this all in one day. So we'll see how this goes. I want to get into the program as quickly as we can, but before that, I just want to thank BizCorp, who is the sponsor of our program today. BizCorp is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Chamber. They offer value-added products and services to save your business money. BizCorp has offerings covering electricity, natural gas, IT, telecom, business insurance, and fleet fueling, all to leverage the purchasing power of the Chamber members. If you want to learn more about BizCorp, you can certainly see them on our website. So what we're going to do today is mix in Tom and I talking at you. We're going to throw in some videos and most importantly, solicit your feedback. It will be helpful for us. So to get things started, Michelle Rondinelli, who had the pleasure of being the board chair of 2020, and can't thank her enough for her leadership and all she did as well as Tom, but she's going to present a video here and take a look back at 2020.
Welcome to our Lancaster Chamber annual business meeting. I'm Michelle Rondinelli, owner and president of Kitchen Kettle Foods and former Lancaster Chamber board chair. We can all agree that 2020 was a year full of immense challenge, but as we reflect, there are also moments to celebrate. The Lancaster business community is resilient, and that dedication to the county, to each other, and to moving forward was on full display this year. We'd like to share some of the unique, noteworthy ways the Lancaster Chamber impacted the county by equipping, representing, and serving business while also running our own organization. Here's a 2020 by the numbers look back. For equipping business, one of the major projects was the Recovery Lancaster Initiative, a countywide economic recovery plan created through a partnership with the Lancaster Chamber, the Economic Development Company of Lancaster County, and the County of Lancaster. This project included the critical collaboration of over 150 business and community volunteers to make the initiative happen. The Small Business Recovery and Sustainability Fund through Recovery Lancaster granted $40,963,759 to businesses in the county to help them recover, restart, and move forward during the pandemic. In addition, to help businesses stay open and operate safely, the program distributed 8,244 COVID-19 kits that provided a variety of masks, hand sanitizer, and other personal protective equipment to 117,591 employees in the county. At the Lancaster Chamber, we offered 45 free webinars specifically focused on COVID-19 protocols, legislative updates, and more to help businesses navigate the difficult time. In addition, our total virtual audience through all of our programming throughout 2020 consisted of 17,216 participants, further benefiting the business community and informing leaders of the ever-shifting landscape. Serving business is next in our 4 areas of focus. 87% of business professionals surveyed feel the Chamber is meeting or exceeding expectations at providing access to information relevant for businesses. This is really important feedback to us because we strive to ensure we're always serving you and your needs. One of those needs, and it was a major one, was access to timely, effective, and crucial information regarding COVID-19 and the immense impact it had on the business community. We quickly created an online resource hub with updates, webinars, legislation, CDC guidelines, recommendations for health, and much more that was visited by over 27,000 people looking for guidance on how to navigate this extremely difficult situation. We were also grateful to continue our cost savings initiatives for businesses in Lancaster County, and through our BizCorp program, we returned $79,987 in dividends to participating members from our workers' compensation program. Representing business is another area of focus for the Lancaster Chamber, and this past year proved to be even more crucial as COVID-19 engulfed our communities. 84% of businesses surveyed feel the Chamber is meeting or exceeding expectations at being a champion for a stronger community. We take this seriously and have worked hard in 2020 to listen to business and to be an advocate and voice to legislators during the pandemic. We took 6 positions on COVID-19 legislative items to directly support businesses during the year, helping to push an agenda that positively impacted the business community during this unprecedented challenge. In addition, we coordinated a new digital article series called Words That Activate Change. The series was created to uplift voices in our community, encourage dialogue, and to inspire activism for systematic change. There were 13 stories in 2020, and we continue to add more in 2021 because of how important these ongoing conversations are to an inclusive, informed, and effective community. Lastly, running our business efficiently is key to our organization's sustainability and well-being. We are grateful for all the members who continue to support us and our mission, and we are excited to say we added 131 new members who joined in 2020. It is because of these companies that we can continue doing the work that we do. Because of the unusual landscape of 2020, we proactively made over 2,000 calls to Chamber members to hear feedback, listen to the issues they were facing, and see how we could fill the needs that they were experiencing. Overall, 2020 was a year unlike any other, but we were inspired by the Lancaster County business community, and we're encouraged by its dedication, its passion, and collaboration to keep our county forging ahead. We always strive to equip, represent, and serve businesses, and we are grateful we were able to do so effectively in 2020. We look forward to how we can best serve you in 2021 and beyond.
Special thank you to Michelle. She had probably not the year she was looking for as the chair of the Lancaster Chamber Board, but it was. I was honored to be part of the chamber last year. I think under Michelle's leadership and certainly under Tom's leadership, what the chamber did last year to help the business community was just incredible. And I can't thank Michelle enough for her leadership. She's not on this call. She was on the last one, so we did get to thank her a little bit, which was nice. But it was really an interesting year. 12 months ago, if you had asked me, you know, you're going to deal with a pandemic, you're going to deal with racial strife and political unrest over the next 12 months, I would have said, in what movie? So I was, again, proud to be part of the chamber, and hopefully we helped you and your businesses through some of this. What we'd like to do today is go through our plans for 2021. We're going to watch some videos, but again, I can't stress enough, your feedback is really what we're looking for most. So just to remind everybody what our mission, vision, and value proposition are to you. The vision of the Lancaster Chamber is to be recognized, is for Lancaster County to be recognized as a model of prosperity. There's a lot of components to that, but I believe very strongly that it's businesses that lead that by providing good jobs and providing community impact and giving back to the community. We create prosperity, and that's what we're all working toward. The mission of the Chamber to create an environment and facilitate partnerships to impact business success and our county's prosperity. We hope by connecting businesses and helping them through their needs that we can help them be better and help the community be more prosperous. What we're going to do and the value prop, equipping, serving, and representing business, you'll see us talk about all of those today. And we'll go into those in much more detail. So how this is going to work, we're going to have a video from Brian Dumbach, who's a board chair, or not a board chair, a board member of the Chamber with me. He's going to talk a bit, and then we'll get into the meat of the program.
Brian Dumbach, the president of GSM Industrial. How did the Chamber equip me with resources in 2020? Well, the Lancaster Chamber didn't miss a beat. They quickly transitioned to online sessions packed with as much value as the traditional in-person ones. I always appreciate the Excellence Exchange programs. You just can't leave those events without a couple great nuggets to take away. Last year, right when the pandemic chaos was full on, it was especially helpful to participate in the COVID legal webinar and the mental health sessions. It's stuff we don't usually think about, but the Chamber was able to provide it right when the times required it.
And good morning, everybody. I'm Tom Baldrige. I'm the president and CEO of the Lancaster Chamber, and I greatly appreciate the time you've dedicated this morning to the Chamber. And I'm hopeful that the time you're dedicating is going to prove valuable to the Chamber as well, as we actively seek your thoughts and feedback on the chat. There will be moments during this presentation where we'll be specifically asking you to respond on the chat, but I would also invite you to feel free to respond on the chat at any time during this next 50 minutes or so. To give us feedback as it comes into your mind. We are in the beginning of a planning process for a new strategic plan, and the feedback that we're gathering today is going to be instrumental in making sure we're headed in the right path. What we want to do now is go over the 4 fundamentals of our strategic plan: equipping business, representing business, serving business, and running our business, and give you a little bit more detail about the specifics of the 2020 plans and priorities. Before I do that, however, I want to give a specific shout out to Michelle Rondinelli of Kitchen. For all of you in the business community, that Michelle's talents as a business owner and a leader were put to the test, and she passed with flying colors, really helping guide the Chamber through this and serving the business community better than we ever could have. So thank you to Michelle. I also want to give a special shout out to Scott Fiore. Scott Fiore has been with the Chamber Board for quite a few years. This year, serving as our chair to kind of culminate his service with the Chamber, demonstration of the leadership that he's provided throughout his. It says a lot about a person when they agree to serve on the Chamber Board or as chair. It's both a personal and a professional commitment. Scott has a passion for the Lancaster County community that he has displayed frequently. Personal level through his service on the Chamber Board, but it also is a testimony to his professional commitment and expertise as he's been build Tristarr Staffing into a incredibly strong business with an incredibly strong team that enables him to service, and we all benefit as a result. So I thank you, Scott, the entire team at Tristarr for your ability to serve in this 2021 year. Now, let's start with equipping business. This is fundamentally aligned with our mission or vision statement that Scott mentioned, which is to Lancaster County into a model of prosperity. Lancaster County's prosperity will only be achieved by businesses being prosperous. And it's to that end that we want to be sure as a chamber, we're doing what we can to equip you with the services and content you need for success. As is obvious, 2021 created a whole new area of opportunity for us, if not challenge, and it is continuing into 2021 as we pivot and adjust our needs, make sure that we're meeting you at the moment. So while this is the last year of a 3-year strategic plan, the details of that plan changed dramatically in 2020. They continue to adjust in 2021. Principles of equipping, serving, representing, and running our business have remained the same. So under equip, we have 3 primary areas that we're lifting up this year. Attract and retain employees. Historically, that's been all about the fact that in a very low unemployment status, Lancaster County to find the right employees. The COVID issue has changed that pretty significantly with higher unemployment numbers, but now larger skill gaps as companies change to what is the realities of COVID and what that entails. A crisis that we're working with and development board and others to help this community navigate that. At the same time, the chamber is still focused on we are still focused on those opportunities to make sure that we're growing our own, both high school students and college students, to be ready to take those local jobs available and be aligned with their curriculum and their mentoring opportunities. So in a partnership with the STEM Alliance, we will be launching Inspire platform, supposed to launch in 2020, one of the nuances of the COVID situation. But that platform will help your company connect with enable them a better familiarity with what job opportunities are available in your companies and to provide some job shadowing and mentorship opportunities for our local workforce. We're also have partnerships like the Emerald Foundation, Teacher in the Workplace with the Workforce Development Program, and other things geared specifically at connecting to our local high schools to ensure that there's a connection between their curriculum and the opportunities that are available for them. Meeting with our college presidents on a monthly basis. That has served as a tremendous platform to both help them navigate through the crisis of COVID, but also to make sure that there's an alignment between their students that are graduating and the opportunities that are available in Lancaster County for their future employment. We will obviously continue all of these efforts in 2021. Under providing relevant training and creating meaningful connections, this is we took very seriously in 2020. And we changed basically all of our programming to an online format and opened many of our programming for free so that we could serve the entire business community. And we're continuing to do that in 2021, but even on steroids. We'll be continuing our Excellence Exchange program on a bi-monthly basis. We'll continue to offer a whole host of COVID-based webinars to continue your learning and ability to navigate the crisis, and in a partnership, and we'll be launching a small business programming session in partnership with SCORE that will allow small businesses to help navigate social media issues, marketing issues, cybersecurity issues, finance, HR, and the like on a monthly basis. We're very excited about this new commitment to that type of programming. We've also taken our very popular New Manager Academy and shifted it to online to make sure that we're continuing to allow you to develop your current workforce into additional opportunities for growth, even in these times where we're so limited by our ability to connect in the classroom. We will continue to commit to all of these types of programming, and I would very much encourage you to keep an eye out for our Tuesday emails, our weekly digest that will give you all the information you need to ensure that you're leveraging your membership with the Chamber as best as possible. And then finally, address business and community challenges. So this is something that emerged significantly in 2020. And while COVID was the predominant effort throughout the year and continues to be something that we are committed to helping you navigate, the other key has been the diversity, equity, and inclusion issues that were really brought to the fore yet again by the killing of George Floyd. Many companies continue to scramble with their abilities to effectively manage an effective diversity, equity, inclusion plan and proposal for their own companies. this county as a whole continues to struggle with how we can best embrace that to be a welcoming community. The Chamber is doing two things in that regard right now. One is we're launching our own task force to take a look internally at the Chamber's operations. A task force is being chaired by Vanessa Filbert from CAP, and Alex Brame from BB&T, now Truist. That will be looking at both what the Chamber itself needs to do to improve their DEI status, but also what programming we can offer to you businesses to help everybody better embrace this internally to create a better climate. We're also working with many partners across the county more broadly to see if there's opportunities to connect on a more broad countywide basis to promote diversity, equity, inclusion across this county through for-profits, nonprofits, and government situations, so that Lancaster County can embrace the notion of a diverse equity and social justice community. So those are the ways in which we're trying to commit to equipping business in 2021. I'll turn it back to Scott now for some additional feedback from you.
So what we want to do is move on to the next quadrant, representing our business. The Chamber worked hard to promote a pro-business agenda. Tom's going to talk about that. And we'll get started with a short video from Lydia Henry of Atomic.
I'm Lydia Henry. I'm the Vice President of Strategy and Human Resources at Atomic Design up in Lidditz. And we have found working with the Chamber to be instrumental in our ongoing journey this year, particularly with regard to a few of the initiatives or programs that the Chamber has led. Recovery Lancaster being first and foremost. Without Recovery Lancaster, the partnership with EDC and the Lancaster Chamber, I think it would have been a real, an even greater struggle for Atomic to continue on than we've had. In an industry that was particularly hard hit, Recovery Lancaster has been extremely helpful in terms of the advocacy they've done on behalf of business with the county in terms of funding and how those funds were dispersed, as well as just resources for how to handle the current pandemic. For organizations who have been hard hit, having this support has been instrumental. Additionally, just the ongoing COVID-19 programming has been critical to companies, particularly like ours, who have downsized significantly. Having the Chamber to support us has been instrumental in our continuing to operate. And finally, another initiative that we are really glad to see the Chamber involved in and support heavily is the Business for Good partnership that the Chamber Assets and the Lancaster County Community Foundation are working towards. And we look forward to being even a bigger part of that initiative and program as we move forward.
Let me just pick up quickly because I didn't mention the In Good Company effort that Lydia mentioned at the end of her talk. I was meant to mention that in equipping, but we are planning to proceed with that partnership with Assets and the Lancaster County Community Foundation, and we invite you all to look forward to ways to engage in that effort to create a better overall civic engagement of companies and their relationship with our community as a whole. So for representing business, the best way I can frame this, quite frankly, is with a story that I love to tell, and many of you may be tired of hearing. But it was 149 years ago this year that a group of downtown business owners got together on the second floor of a hotel on East King Street to discuss their frustration at the lack of paved streets in downtown Lancaster. That meeting, that night, was the start of the Lancaster Chamber. It is indicative of the fact that we were started by the notion that a group of businesses has more collective clout and leverage than any single one business. And in that regard, we take the notion of the way in which we represent business in Lancaster County very seriously to make sure we're leveraging your collective voice in this business community and advancing the things that are going to create the best business climate possible. For 2021, we're continuing along that path, primarily in three different areas. The first is with our 2021 pro-business agenda. That agenda is organized around four key components: navigate, recover, and rebuild due to COVID, workforce, regulation and taxes, and transportation, infrastructure, and community planning. The navigate, recover, and rebuild due to COVID is the obvious one that is facing all of us. It involves issues like the failure of our unemployment compensation system when the when the pandemic hit and the system effectively collapsed. It also is about the liability challenges that businesses face right now. And we're working hard at both the state and federal level to try to get liability protection so that businesses that are doing their best to ensure the safety of their workers are not penalized by a frivolous lawsuit. And it also gets into areas of trying to assist schools with the way they navigate their reopening and getting the appropriate funding they need. Unlike any past year, perhaps, for the Chamber, but engaging in issues that are going to be part and parcel of helping the mental health of our broader workforce in Lancaster County as the impacts of that continue to grow across our country and in the workplace that I'm sure all of you are experiencing. These are just some of the efforts that we're involved in this regard, and not the least of which is continuing to advocate for vaccines, to advocate for testing, and to advocate for staying safely reopened and allowing the business community to get back to as close to normal as we can as we go through this tail end of the COVID experience. As it relates to workforce, I kind of lifted that up already in the previous slide, but it's really about trying to advocate for opportunities that can enhance the skills gap that exists right now so that we can try to meet the workforce where it's at and your needs and try to make sure that we're advancing policies and procedures that help bring that closer together. Regulation and taxes is kind of a standard bearer for the Lancaster Chamber in our pro-business agenda. For this year, we obviously are going to be looking at things that could potentially impede the business community or allow for more opportunity in the business community at both the state and federal level, and we'll be advancing those as they come along. More specifically, and frankly proactively, is an issue that we're assessing right now in working with the city of Lancaster to look at the available tax structure that they work within by state mandate, and if there might be other opportunities that could be create a better tax environment in the city and ensure their fiscal sustainability. And then finally, transportation, infrastructure, and community planning. There are a variety of issues around here, but first and foremost is the notion that in the coming year, it is expected that there could be a major infrastructure bill out of the federal government. If that comes to be the case, it's imperative that Lancaster County is ready with their roadway and mass transit priorities. And we want to be sure we're doing what we can to advance that appropriately so that Lancaster County gets its fair share of any federal infrastructure effort. In addition to that, the pandemic has exposed perhaps some of the ongoing challenges of both affordable housing and internet accessibility for Lancaster County residents. And those issues remain premier in making sure that we're addressing all the infrastructure and good business practices across this county for Lancaster. So that's our pro-business agenda. You did receive it yesterday, and I would invite you to look at the more specifics. The second part of our efforts regarding representing the business community is our effort around building relationships with elected officials and staff. During this time, it's particularly difficult when you can't have in-person meetings or town hall meetings to kind of meet and greet with our elected officials to let them know of your concerns or opportunities. The Chamber is committed to making sure we use this platform that we have to provide availability to our elected officials. Just last week, we featured our entire state delegation in 2 programs that enabled about 120 of you to engage in them, to hear their priorities and to share your concerns and opportunities for the business in 2021. We will continue to offer those programs throughout the coming year to make sure that the inability to meet in person doesn't restrict your ability to have your voice heard. And then finally, we want to promote public awareness and represent business and community initiatives. We do this in a whole host of ways all the time, but the one thing we want to lift up specifically for 2021 is our effort to re-engage in a program that we've offered 5+ years ago called Practical Politics. What we plan to do through Practical Politics is kind of give you the 101 of what it would be like to run for office, what's involved in working on a campaign, how you can get engaged in supporting an elected official, and inviting the business community to become more aware and ideally more proactive in what the opportunities they have as a business community to engage more actively in the political arena. We look forward to launching that at the end of spring, beginning of summer. And we hope to engage as many of you as possible as we continue to kind of build the bridge between the business community and our elected officials. With that, I'll turn it back to Scott.
Thanks, Tom. You can see we do a lot around this issue, and now we want to make sure we're doing the right things for you. We're going to pop up a poll on the screen and ask you 4 questions. The questions are there. They're either yes, no, or on a scale. But if you could answer each of those 4, make sure to scroll down so you get each of the questions answered, because this will help us best plan for what we can do for you in the upcoming year.
I would just make one comment on it that I find interesting, and know that we're committed to working with you to make sure we're fully leveraging it, is the amount of businesses specifically that feel that are at the 1 and 2 relative to getting directly involved in advocacy and around issues, et cetera. But the expectations in the 4 and 5s for the Chamber's role in that regard, we take that very seriously. We realize that you're worrying about running your business and perhaps don't have time for those types of issues. And that's in some ways what we're all about. So we look forward to really kind of, for lack of a better word, exploiting that disconnect and making sure that what we're doing at the 4 and 5 level is meeting where you're at while you continue to focus on running your business as is appropriate.
The next thing we're going to talk about is serving your businesses. Things like sending emails, things like keeping your team updated. This is the next area we're going to talk about. And to kick it off.
The Lancaster Chamber has been an invaluable partner with Cargus over the years. Our team has participated in events like the Excellence Exchange and the annual dinner, and also in the last year, from an HR perspective, we've really valued the resources that the Chamber has put together to help us navigate COVID-19. From providing experts at WellSpan and Penn Medicine to legal information on the expanded FMLA regulations, the Chamber has been a reliable resource for new information.
Thank you, Emily, and shout out to Cargus for everything they did during the 2020 year in many instances in partnership with the Chamber as well. So serving business is the piece of our strategic plan that is less about content and more about how we deliver and relate to our members and the broader business community. And in that regard, we definitely have plans for 2021 that double down from the lessons that we learned in 2020 and hopefully continue to evolve in a way that can serve you better, both in these times and for positioning us for the future. Top of the list, I think, in that regard is the fact that last year, what we learned during the pandemic when we had to shut down all in-person opportunities to meet, what we learned from our membership survey of 2020 was pretty interesting. 49% of the respondents noted that the Chamber was a primary source of their information for business-based COVID response. We take great pride in that because as soon as COVID hit, we redesigned our website to create a special page that provided as much comprehensive local, state, and federal business-based COVID information as we possibly could to create one stop for you to go check out and to keep current on everything that was out there. That turned out to be an incredibly valuable tool, and I want to specifically shout out Tony Gork on our staff that helped create it, and Heather Valuta is the vice president who you heard earlier for her role in making sure that it kept that information fresh and alive. That is still current, and we still encourage you to use that as a source. But it's also worth noting that in 2020, our membership survey noted that as one of the tied for the top value of the Chamber, you told us that it was as a source of information. Previously, that source of information never got higher than 7 on our past surveys, with number 1 almost always being, or one of the tops always being, networking. This year, when networking fell to number 9 because we couldn't network, it was gratifying to see that information went to number one, because that is, in fact, where we shifted, suggesting, I hope, that the Chamber is there when you need it and where you need it. And we'd like to think that we're going to continue to deliver in that same regard in 2021 with our website. Additionally, in 2021, we're going to be fully leveraging our new database that just launched late last year. That database is going to be able to provide for a better user experience. It will also set the stage for opportunities for you to connect in peer groups and other ways to learn from each other on a more regular basis at your own pace. And we look forward to these types of opportunities to share with you as the year progresses through the implementation of the new database. We're also excited about that opportunity with the new database and the website, that ultimately we can provide for advertising and sponsorship opportunities. You know, in this environment right now where you can't go to a mixer and shake a lot of hands, it's imperative that businesses find a way to get their name out there and their value recognized. And while I don't want this to be a totally sales pitch for the Chamber, I will tell you that we believe, with all positive intent for your best efforts, that the Chamber is a great source for you to advertise and sponsor, so that you can, in an efficient way, to reach the business community that you want to serve. We're not the place, we recognize, for business to consumer, but we are the place for an efficient, effective business to business advertising and promotion. And our new platforms can help you better leverage that, particularly in these unique times. I also must mention our BizCore products. Again, Scott mentioned they were our sponsor for today. They continue in 2021 to offer you value-added products that will save you money: electricity, natural gas, fleet fueling, IT and telecom, and business insurance, inclusive of workers' comp, all of which are designed to leverage group purchasing power and provide you better value. I would invite you to check out our website as ways in which you can take advantage of those products. And then finally, and perhaps most significantly in the long term for us in 2021, we're launching a membership task force. It'll be led by Katie Sandow of Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority and a board member of the Chamber. It will be staffed by Tom Wallace from the Chamber, and it's going to be looking specifically at the way we relate to the membership, we create value for the membership, and we engage with you on a regular basis, not just during COVID, obviously, but long into the future. We're really excited about what that membership task force can do. And one of the specifics, please, for this session itself is to invite your ongoing chat feedback on how we can make sure that your membership dollars are proven to be most valuable in the ways in which we can deliver services and a relationship to you to keep you informed and to keep your company thriving. With that, I'll turn it back to Scott for the next phase of your involvement.
Thanks, Tom. And yes, keep those chats coming. We appreciate them. But in the interest of networking, we thought we would try a networking exercise for everybody. And this got good feedback in our first session, so we're hoping you enjoy it as well. What we're going to do is put you in a breakout room and give you a chance to network, but also give us a chance to get some feedback from you. What we'd like you to do is, once in the room, introduce yourself and your company, and then share one thing that you think the Chamber provides that's valuable, and one thing you think we should be providing that's valuable. We're going to give you about 6 or 7 minutes again, because we got good feedback in the last session, and then you'll have a message to kick out of those, and we'll come back and look at some of and ask you for some feedback on that for members of your group.
Okay, Scott, I think we can get started.
Great. Thanks, everyone. I hope that was as good as it was for the last session that we did for everybody. We appreciate you taking the time to do that. The one thing I will ask you is if someone from your group or several from your group can put in the chat what you folks talked about and what were those things that you thought were valuable could offer and are offering, that would be very helpful to us. So if you guys could get that in the chat, that would be great. In the interest of time, we're going to move to the last piece of our program today, which is running our business. In order to provide all these services, we have to run a business. And in order to kick this off, we have a member of our board, Andy Dula from E.G. Stoltzfus, who's going to give us a short video.
I'm Andy Dula, Chief Operating and Financial Officer at E.G. Stoltzfus here in Lancaster. I also serve as the Treasurer of the Board of the Lancaster Chamber. And certainly I do not have to tell each of you that 2020 has been a year like no other. Like all of your organizations, the Chamber's had to make some tough decisions and remain flexible and nimble during this pandemic. And despite these extraordinary times, we remain committed to managing our affairs in ways that are sustainable both now and well into the future. And we're going to do this by using your financial resources in disciplined ways while focusing on how we can build value for each of you as our members and the entire Lancaster County community. The Chamber's resourced the Lancaster County community in tremendous ways in 2020, and we'll be prepared to respond to whatever may come our way in 2021. Thanks for your ongoing support and the ways each of you strive to make Lancaster County a prosperous place for all.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you again for your service to the Chamber in 2020 and before, and we look forward to your continued service in 2021. It's safe to say that you've been an incredibly helpful part of us navigating through these challenging times. I also would welcome Alan Loss, who's on the call as well, a member of our Finance Committee, who was very helpful through the course of this year, also trying to make sure that we were navigating and spending your dollars appropriately during these times. Before I get into the aspects of running our business, I want to say two things. One is I'm imploring you to please use the chat. Take a moment. I don't even care if you don't listen to me. Take a moment and put in the chat comments and thoughts that you had from your small breakout group. It will not only be instructive to others to read those chats, but this is the type of information that we are frankly desperate to get as we try to make sure that our membership task force has information in front of it to make sure that we're meeting you where you're at. So please respond to that chat relative to your experience in the breakout session. The other thing I want to mention that has come up a lot in the chat previously is these concerns about vaccines. Tomorrow from 10 to 11, we'll be having our second of what is 3 weekly open forums, webinars on the vaccine in Lancaster County. Dr. Mike Ripchinsky, the Chief Clinical Officer from Lancaster General Hospital, will be joining us. It's a free webinar. He'll be sharing the latest on the statistics on the vaccine, the status of where we are in Lancaster County's journey with the vaccine, and then taking your questions. We all recognize that the workplace is a significant place where people are looking for information. We want to be sure we're equipping you with that information as best we can. I also, for those of you that enjoyed the brief breakout sessions that we just had in the networking, I can't help but mention that we have continued our monthly Get Connected series. The next one will be held February the 18th from 11 to 12. That's a program where you gather online and then you do break into groups and you network in a way that we hope can continue to foster those business connections and opportunities locally. And then in addition to that, we'll be continuing our Excellence Exchange in a virtual setting that will also include opportunities for networking. That's on February, the next one is February the 8th from 9 to 10:15. And I want to specifically mention Conrad Siegel, who's on this call today as a primary sponsor for that ongoing program. With that said, let me quickly address running our business. I think Andy's probably made the case for the ensuring fiscal stability for 2021. Obviously, that's always a priority because if we're not sustainable, we can't continue to deliver on the other 3 aspects of our strategic plan. We did make the decision to keep the membership dues flat in 2021 so that we are doing the best we can to meet you where you're at and not add any additional costs to what is challenging times for most businesses. Also, as always, we continue to invest in the Chamber team. And I want to give a specific shout out to the way they stepped up in 2020 in remarkable fashion to deliver on the programs and services that the business community needed at the moment, and how they continue to do that even during times where it gets old, but we try to continue to build the momentum among the staff, and I've been very inspired by their ongoing effort and commitment to the Lancaster County business community. And then finally, engaging volunteers and planning for the future. I alluded to this in the beginning. This is the last year of a 3-year strategic plan. And in so doing, we're trying to make sure that we're prepared for 2022 and beyond. And we're spending this year doing that work. Part of these sessions today is designed to gather some of that feedback from you to make sure that the beginnings of our 2022 strategic planning process has as much member feedback as we possibly can. I'm very encouraged that Carrie Willits from Ephrata Hospital will be leading in a very engaging team of a task force to address our strategic plan for the next 3 years. but it's imperative that we engage as actively as possible with our members in that process. And I invite all of you to make sure that you're giving us your thoughts and ideas about what Lancaster County looks like and needs post-COVID, so that we can make sure that the Chamber continues to deliver on your expectations in the future. Finally, two other quick points. If you were listening closely, you noted that I said that we were founded 149 years ago this year, meaning next year is our 150th year. We do plan to celebrate, and we do hope we're in a position where celebration feels really good at that point. I'm pleased to say that Steve Geisenberger from the Walls Group and Katie Sandow from Lancaster County Solid Waste Management Authority will be chairing a 150th task force that will be looking at ways we can celebrate the business community more broadly and the Lancaster Chamber specifically all throughout 2022. And we invite your feedback on any ideas and thoughts you have to make that a special year that we'd like it to be. And finally, for those of you that are wondering, we are committed to finding a way to have an annual dinner in 2021. We do know that it won't be held until the fall. What we don't know is exactly what that will look like, but know that we're working hard on making sure that we're going to deliver an experience that is unique and that captures the spirit, the energy, and the impact of every year's annual dinner, the 149 annual dinners that have been held before that. With that, I turn it back to Scott.
Thanks, Tom. And as we close things up, if what we would like you to do, you just saw a chat pop up, but is there one thing that you would like the Chamber to know, if you could put that in the chat? That said, I want to thank Tom for his work. He mentioned his staff. They were incredible in 2020, but I can only describe Tom's year as crazy. He put a tremendous amount of work in for the benefit of us in the business community, and it paid off. Thank you, Tom. And also a thank you to the Board of Directors. We worked nimbly and quickly, and it was a pleasure to be part of that. And I'm really honored to have had some input into that. As we close things, thanks to BizCorp for sponsoring this event. And I've known Tom long enough that he won't let me have the last word, so I'll turn it over to him to close us out.
And you also know me long enough that we end on time. So in the 30 seconds remaining, all I can tell you folks is that you, the business community, have inspired me and the staff and the board beyond belief in 2020. As difficult as it was, we want to continue that momentum into 2021. And even though we are ending this on time, you can feel free to and are encouraged to hang on the line a little bit longer and write any thoughts and comments in the chat box that you think could be helpful as we try to make sure that we're meeting your needs in the 2021 year. Thank you, everybody. Be safe. Hope to see you on the vaccine call tomorrow.